Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we continue with our class on Shalom Bayit, Peace in the Home, with the book of Rabbi Isaac Ginsburg, The Mystery of Marriage. And we're finishing chapter 9, in which we're talking about infinite patience. And if we remember, last week we were talking about how patience is the antidote to anger, and that the only way in which we can control anger is if we foster in ourselves and we learn to be patient. Today we will be talking about the land of Israel, and it's so auspicious because we're in the 9 days coming to the 9th of Av, of Tisha B'Av, in which we mourn the destruction of our temples, and we're mourning that we're in exile and we're dispersed all over the world, and we are not living in the conditions that we should be living and the way that God intended for us to live all together in the land of Israel in perfect harmony and peace and with well-being. So infinite patience is conceptually associated with the nature of the land of Israel. The Holy Land is frequently referred to in the Bible, in the Torah, as a land flowing with milk and honey, and evoking an image of the sublime tranquility of the spirit one would hope to experience in one's home, wherever it is. So this idea of milk and honey really gives us comfort. Like, you think about milk and you think about honey. These are two things that give us comfort, and it gives us tranquility. Honey is soothing, and milk is soothing too. So patience can best be acquired in the Holy Land, and Israel is the gateway to the Garden of Eden. So here he explains that the Hebrew word for milk and honey is halak devash, and its numerical value to infinite patience is 352. And this halak devash is the same numerical value as infinite patience, with its 352. And the initials of the word land, eretz, and halaf, milk, and devash, honey, together spell the word ehad, which means one. So the only way in which we can have peace and tranquility is when we are one unit, when we are connected, when we feel that everything is Hashem, when we don't see Hashem separated from us, when we see that everything that's going around in the world is one with Him. And the Hebrew word for honey, devash, may be seen as an acronym for the names of David and Bathsheba, which is the archetypal couple whose rectification depends on infinite patience. Because if you know Torah, if you have read the Tanakh, King David sent Bathsheba's husband to war so he would be killed, so he would be able to marry her, and she was predestined for him anyways. And the problem he had was that he was not able to wait for her to come to him at the right time. He ushered it out of the time that was supposed to be. So this rectification depends on infinite patience, and this is what we learn from this, and whose names together equal Shalom Bayit, which means domestic tranquility. And furthermore, the word for milk, halab, may be seen as an acronym for my heart is void within me, King David's statement of the consummate teshuvah with regard to his sin with Bathsheba. So his whole life was to rectify this sin, and that was why he had so much of a depression, and he wrote the whole Tehillim book, because he was always trying to rectify what he did. And in Kabbalah, milk symbolizes the 5 states of Hesed in that we learned before, which correspond to the male, and the honey represent the 5 states of Gevura. If we remember, Hesed is kindness, love, and kindness, and Gevura is justice, strictness, boundaries, discipline. In that is knowledge, which correspond to the female. And here in particular, this is said of the Machpelah cave, that there's where all our patriarchs are buried except Rachel. Adam and Eve are buried there, Abraham and Sarah, Jacob and Leah, and they're buried there. And so we see from here that the Machpelah cave is the rectification of Adam and Eve. They all were the reincarnations of Adam and Eve, who according to our sages are also buried there. And the sages refer to the patriarchs and matriarchs as the upright ones, like they're righteous. And uprightness implies patience. So for a person to be upright, to be righteous, one of the characteristics he needs to have is infinite patience. And this is the Holy Land, which is in Israel, which is the gateway to the Garden of Eden, is where God had originally intended that the first man and woman live and grow spiritually together, relating to one another with love and infinite patience, thereby meriting the eternal bliss. And the eternal bliss is shalom, is to have peace in life. That's what everybody's looking for. We're all looking for peace. And when one of the Hasidim of Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Lubavitch, who was the third Rebbe of Lubavitch, asked him whether or not to move to Israel, he answered, make the land of Israel here. Like, you don't have to move to the physical land of Israel to be able to live in harmony and love and peace and shalom bayit. You can do it wherever you are. So in the accordance with the above understanding of infinite patience and its relation to the land of Israel, we can see that implication of this saying, wherever you are, learn to be patient. Impatience represents the existential state of living outside of the land of Israel. So the land of Israel really is a spiritual place. There's a physical Israel, but in reality it's a spiritual place. So spiritually, if you are a person that is striving to acquire patience in your relationships, especially your relationship with your spouse, and you work on that midah, then you are as if you're living in Mashiach times. Because when a person is patient and he's tranquil, nothing faces him. The world can be falling on top of him, and he's gonna know that everything comes from Hashem, that Hashem is in his life, that everything is divine intervention, that everything is Hashgacha Pratis, that nothing is random, that everything is exact, and that whatever he's going through in that moment is something that Hashem has fashioned for him, so he is able to bring godly sparks into this world by separating the good from the evil. And in that way, that test that he's going through, or that ordeal, or however, or stepping stone, or opportunity of growth that he's going through, really is in order to take him to a higher place. And that's why we should never despair and never be impatient. So this existential state of living outside of Israel is really when we live stressed, we live impatient, we live scared, with fear, and with no emunah, with no connection. This is the exile, really. But if we really want to come to Geula, we really want to come to the redemption, then we have to really work on our infinite patience. And the agility with the liberation, the tolerant attitude fostered by cultivating infinite patience should not, however, make one passive about life. So we cannot fall also in like, okay, let God take care of my problems. No. You're not going to sit in a chair and drink piña colada till everything gets resolved. You have to be part of the solution also. You have to also put your part. Hashem wants you to be part of it. So on the contrary, it should enhance one's energetic drive, his agility, to rectify reality. And this is because true patience is based on the awareness that God is ever present in one's life and influencing the outcome of one's endeavors. And this way we will be able to rectify and overcome anything that comes our way. So from all the above, it is clear that infinite patience is the key to self-rectification. So apart from humbleness, which we need to be able to work on this midah, patience comes from humbleness. So when we're humble and we acknowledge, then we're able to set apart and let things evolve and not get frustrated or angry or whatever comes with it. So to the extent that one has succeeded in rectifying himself, integrated infinite patience into his very being so that it is reflected in his external demeanor. So once you are a person that has been able to acquire this great midah, you have been able to acquire this great character trait, then we can proceed to be able to help others rectify themselves. But before that, you cannot tell someone to fix themselves if you haven't been able to fix yourself first. And it's like when you go on a plane and the masks come down, the first thing they tell you is first put it on yourself and then you can help someone else. To be able to help someone else, you first have to look inside of yourself and correct yourself, and then you can save someone else. But before that, we're only dreaming, and we're creating more harm than good. So this he does with sweet and gentle words. It's very important when we're trying to help someone else to rectify themselves, to do it with love and with gentleness, and to do it because we really care about them and we really want the good for them, and we're not thinking about ourselves and what is good for us. We're just thinking about them, not ourselves. And the words of the wise, one who possesses the insight to first rectify himself, say when spoken gently are heeded. So when we speak with love and care and gentleness, the words will enter. So as they say, the sages say, words from the heart enter the heart. So I wish you a good week, a happy, healthy, sweet week, and full of shalom, patience, and live a little higher. Thank you.